Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a high-level professional StarCraft 2 match. Today in the bottom left, falling as our red Terran player, the man, the myth, the legend, playing for Platinum Heroes. It is a baby Marine. And in the top right as our blue Protoss player, playing for the Elfin clan with a little fairy spinning around his nexus, going to be for Jumi, opening up with a quick Stargate, while on the other side we see a factory swapping over to a barracks with no command center inside quite yet, which can only mean one thing and one thing only, that this is a one base gas first build with a marine opener. Attempted eBay block, I think, as well. This probe was halfway across the map as I started mentally tuning in for this game. We have a battery coming down. I think Jumi is somewhat ready for all of this. It's going to scout as well with this adept right now. See that indeed there's a factory pumping out cars. Hopefully he's capable of escaping with this adept. Not always the case. So maybe he's actually not capable of escaping with this adept. Should really start running back. Yeah, cancel this shade as well. Finishes it. Blah. Yeah, that's a black moment in my opinion. You already know what's kicking off here. You're not going to get any more kills, so just lost a unit there for free. It's kind of silly in my mind. Matter of fact, does end up starting. So we have the first Oracle on the way, battery on the low ground. Now, the reason why I'm casting this game is because people came up to me. We were talking in conversation. It came up. We're like, hey, were there any good games at the Home Story Cup? Any games that people might have missed? And I got told that this game in particular was, was something else, so to say. It really was something else. So I'm curious to see what's going to be kicking up here. Oracle with a pretty decent defense. Battery does a good job helping out here, of course. And these aliens don't quite get the damage. Matter of fact, not being used. No battery in the main base. Now, it looks kind of weird sometimes to have a battery to defend against Hellions. Like, well, don't 3 Hellions one-shot a probe? Yes, that's true. But the way that the Hellion shot works is that they don't all shoot in kind of the same line. So there's different lines going towards one probe. And then there's always a little bit of collateral splash damage right on these probes. And that collateral splash damage, it's very important that gets healed quickly. And a battery is, of course, fantastic for that. So you often lose way less workers if you have a battery versus when you don't have a battery. It can be a difference of losing 3 workers or 7 or 8 workers. Like, this dealt the same amount of damage with practically 2 Hellions. One of those already fairly damaged as well, as the initial run in did with 4 Hellions. And I think if there was a battery here, probably only would have lost a single, maybe not even a single probe, honestly. Probably just would have lost nothing, which is kind of crazy. So that's a pretty big difference, 0 or 3. And it's the same with that first run-in, you know. It could have been 7 or 8 worker kills, but instead it only ended up being, I think it was 3 as well there, right? Or maybe 4, yeah. I think it was 3, actually. Marine's now going to start working on this Oracle. Immediately pops the Stasis Ward, which is obviously fantastic. Actually, this Marine is really sick because it kind of functions as a spotter that can be killed. Like, it's like a mine with a lot of vision, and it can shoot as well. But yeah, pretty nice start here for Baby Marine defensively. Not so much aggressively, just didn't deal the damage that he wanted to, as we have a Phoenix Colossus follow-up most likely here for Jumi. It's a tiny tad supply block, tiny bit. Yeah, it's kind of supply blocked at the moment. As Baby Marine. It's not mining a whole lot of gas. I'm not sure if that's on purpose. Don't think it is. He's building a lot of Cyclones. I don't quite understand this. This seems bad. Sometimes you see things and you wonder why people are doing it. And then sometimes you just gotta, you know, kind of come to terms with the fact that sometimes people just have bad builds or they have bad ideas. I think this is legitimately a pretty bad idea. So he's gonna go with 2 Medevacs, 2.5 Cyclone, a bunch of Marines, Stim, and this halfway done. This is a recipe for disaster. It really is. I don't quite understand how this deals any amount of damage if there are batteries, and there are batteries. So it feels like this move carries a lot of risk. It really does. Single Colossus would shut this down so hard as well, by the way. Baby Marine still looking for an angle to engage his opponent with, but I just don't think there's an angle that is good. Takes out a single worker, double Cyclone pickup here. Okay, Stims takes out this battery. That's an okay start. Stalker now being taken out, and here comes the Colossus. That's going to be the end of all of that. Honestly, keeps all of his units alive and killed 4 probes. So, actually a pretty decent setup here. That was a nice start. Much better than I thought it would have gone. Combat shield is now on the way. We finally have some marauders in production as well. We have 2 out already. 2 more barracks coming in. And it also kept these phoenixes busy, of course. So despite me being critical of this move, it worked out fairly well. And that's okay. I'm fine with that. I don't feel hurt. No turrets quite yet. I mean, he's going to lose a couple of workers now if Forajumi manages this correctly. At least 3 will go down, yes. Dives deep initially, they can always still pick off this bad boy on the way out. Actually, good movement here by Forajumi, who's going up to a high Phoenix count right at this moment. Forge plus Twilight on the way. We have the gateway here as well. That's going to bring the total up to 4. That's a good gateway count. I like 4 gateways. I think he's a little bit slow at taking these extra gases, though. That's a little bit slow. He's quite slow. Yeah, this is not good. All right. It's not a... Yeah, it's not great. It really ain't great. Ooh, can we get a little revelation here? Yes, we can, sir. Most definitely we can. Gonna get the Vikings. That's a really early Viking production. Not a fan of that move. But maybe a necessity. I have a triple mine drop here being sent out. Is this pylon going to spot that? Ooh, solid for a millisecond here. Don't think Forajumi quite paying attention. Armory not done yet, though. So this drop could deal damage. Oh my god, never mind. Yeah, it does deal damage, but not as much as I thought it was going to. Maybe if the armory finishes. Forajumi with a really slow response. This was poorly done. Of course, still has the revelation ready, or should have the revelation ready soon. Hope that he does remember that there are 2 mines here, not just 1. Is now moving out of position. Okay, Observer's gonna show up. I think this mine might shoot again or barely won't. It's gonna be close. Okay, does not quite recharge in time. That cost a little bit of effort and also a little bit of time there in which Baby Marine has just been macroing up. Baby Marine's still in a bad position just because of his early game, I think, mainly. His early game really wasn't that tight. Or well, the early game was tight. It just didn't deal any damage and he cut a CC for what? About 30 seconds or so. Didn't really make up for that deficit quite yet. Disruptor's now in production as the first 3 ghosts are on the way out. Feels to me like Baby Marine is planning on going for a bit of a 1-1 timing push. 3 ghosts, maybe 4 to 6 Vikings. I don't really see any future here, though. Usually these are what we refer to as fort breaker. So you want to break a Protoss fort base with this type of push, and you're delaying your armory, your second eBay to really get a little bit of a power spike against a Colossus Phoenix army. I just don't think that power spike is strong enough. I think Forajumi is just too far ahead right now for any real push out to be viable, and in that case, I rather would have seen a slightly higher medevac count and perhaps quicker upgrades. Faster fort base and then a later tech into Ghost, because I think right now, Baby Marine shouldn't be trying to fight. Baby Marine should be trying to fight for map control, having 2 armies on the map, and at every single point where his opponent moves out, initiating a base raid. I think that should be the plan for that. I think wanting to deal damage here is understandable, but probably a mistake. I don't quite appreciate that. Oh, here we go. This is going to be a poor fight here for Baby Marine, I think. Super Battery gets activated. Ghost will go down. Phoenixes largely stay alive. We don't have a lot of ground anti-air, and the control here by Jumi hasn't been perfect either. Does have a setup here as the Marines walk into a Colossus laser beam. That is the last thing that they want. Disruptors being rallied in right now. Sloppy play here by the Protoss player as Baby Marine a little bit more attentive here as to what is kicking off in this game so far. Good setup for Jumi, who doesn't have any cannons in the main. He's getting some cannons at the fort base right now. Fort CC finally goes down for Baby Marine. I really think Jumi should be kind of looking at expanding towards a 5th already at this point. I think one of the things that often happens with Protoss players that are not quite at the very top, and I would count for Jumi as one of those, is that I think they are a little bit too passive in expanding. I really believe that consistently being up a base against Terran is almost a necessity in the current climate. You really are forced into that. This is a nice Zealot round by, could potentially deal some damage. We see Bayon doesn't have that many units at home. I don't quite know where the rally is. It's going straight across the map, it feels like. or towards the third base, means that these zealots could potentially deal some damage if they're being utilized correctly. Blink has finished up. Upgrade +2 has finished up as well. Should continue those upgrades for sure. Once again here, Baby Marine coming in with a nice little attack from the side. Tries to kill a Colossus. Doesn't quite get it, but forces out a super battery. And it's going to redrop here over in the third base, while at the same time moving in towards the fourth. This is good multitasking. Knowing you can't fight the army, it's going to try and clear a Nexus. Instead, loses a bunch of units to a Disruptor shot. But I appreciate the attempt, even if in the end he doesn't quite get what he wants. The overall thoughts were good, for sure. These zealots are going to get cleaned up right now. I think another thing we're lacking is just mines around the map. There's no mine in the middle. There are no mines on the right side, no mines on the left side. We have this observer just spotting absolutely everything. Baby Marine not quite paying attention here. Will be forced into moving back, as Gravitic Drive here is well, starting up right now. Double chronos on forges that aren't working, despite cash definitely being available. So we're heading into the early stages of the late game right now, is what it feels like. Ship weapons on the way. We have the fusion core. We have the second Starport. Are we already on 8 barracks? Yes, we are. 5th CC on the way. This is definitely starting to feel a whole lot like the early beginnings of a late game. Do love that. Dark Templar Blink is also on the way here. Which is always cool to see, of course. Love me some Dark Templar Blink. There's one thing I like in life, it is the DT Blink. So it does feel like that recently Terran players got much better at spreading mines against him, and makes it so much harder to blink on top of next side. Here we go. Going to be a little bit of a fight here. Vikings in the air doing a good job. Purification Nova's not quite connecting yet. Colossus being taken out. I feel like Baby Marine gets the better end of that trade here. I'm not sure if that should have been the case. As a huge Purification Nova, it's going to hit in the middle of that army and forcing the Ghost to move towards the right, where they end up getting picked off as well. Ship weapons level 2 should be a priority here for our Italian Terran player. For the people not aware, of course, Baby Marine is Rainer's little brother. Well, little, he's quite a large guy himself, but his younger brother, I should say. So that when it comes to the StarCraft genetics, he should be fine. So quite speedy, really. 424 for a Terran is good APM. 405 for a TOS is also good APM. Maybe a little bit spammy even. Advanced ballistics here, 25% done or so. That is a big upgrade, right? The Liberator range. I love to see it. At the same time, what do we have on the other side? We have 3 robotics facilities already done, with a 4th one on the way. There's a lot of DTs there just waiting for a base to land. And I think at this point it would be wise here for Baby Marine to start spreading some mines, or maybe even a Liberator at these planetary bases. I think it really would be quite smart. This one's going to be forced into lifting. We have an army split, preemptive here. Is that enough Marauders to deal with this threat? I think it might be. At the same time, we have a crap ton of Disruptors here on the left side. 8 Disruptors are out. Let's go! No, let's not go. Let's go. Yep, there we go. Mine gets taken out. Observer looking for something to see. Wonder if we can figure out what he wants to see yet. Not quite. Just has, hardly sees anything. Don't think this is an army you can engage in, huh? Huh? 4 Disruptor shots going down simultaneously. At the same time, DTs here are attacking this planetary. That's going to be an issue for Baby Marine, who's now being broken there. Right side also under attack by some zealots, but that was a distraction, a cheap distraction there being thrown at Baby Marine. It's going to be in trouble. So we see a continued tech path here out of Forjumi into the double Stargate. Now transitioning back into Colossus. Well, the Vikings have largely disappeared from the map. There's still 2 alive. They have landed though. And I kind of like this. The cannon count isn't quite what I would want. I really like having 5-6 cannons or so with a battery there as well. Mothership is being created. This is a very rare occurrence in a PvT, but I don't entirely mind it. The new Mothership is really nice as a tool to kind of mix in there. I think it's definitely a good play. So you get some Purification Nova's not quite connecting. We have a flanking Disruptor up top, is not going to get that connection either. You have some trouble there with the unit splits coming out of Forjumi, as the Liberator setup at the third base is going to stop these DTs from doing anything too nasty. And also the lack of control is going to stop these DTs from doing anything too nasty. Good fight here for Baby Marine, but this army is simply too bruised and battered. Does not have the healing, does not have the ghost count either to truly continue fighting here. As there are 2 starports, and I think a couple of medevacs would be a wise investment. We're gonna need to see another planetary flying over towards this fort base. There's observers now spreading around the map. Look at this ring of vision that Jumi has created. Literally sees every single move out right now. As the Zealot moves towards the left for any potential Liberator run-bys, which are indeed coming in right now. Mothership about to finish up, of course, at 89 seconds. It's a pretty quick unit to pop, or at least not pretty quick, but it's not really that bad anymore. Throw a couple of chronos on that and it's like a minute or so. Life is pretty okay when it comes to that. Shield. I'm not a fan of shield. I've done it a couple of times myself in the past. Sometimes you just have money left over and you're like, oh, let me get shields. It doesn't really work though. Shields is just bad. Mothership dealing with Liberator harass. I think that's the first time I've seen that in my life. That is definitely the first time I've seen that in my life. And you know what I really like here? Is if this Mothership just kind of covers the left side as a defensive unit and potentially aggressive recall unit. Like, imagine you're being attacked by a double drop. You can recall to the Mothership, use invisibility, push that back, and then just recall back to a Nexus on the right side. That is actually a cool way of approaching this situation, as this Liberator here is being taken out. And we now see the first recall actually going down. 4 more Libs on the way as well here. Seven medevacs as well coming in. This feels like a really good situation overall for Jumi still. I love that little recall there. It's now going to use this Mothership aggressively. Of course, Time Warp is a powerful ability. The problem is just that the main damage output is going to be EMP plus Ghost. Well, if there are any ghosts in the army, which currently isn't the case, and Time Warp doesn't do a whole lot against those 2 things. Liberators do siege up. Time Warp gets used. Here's the zoning tool. I don't mind that either. Oh my god. I actually love the thought of a Mothership. Just a Mothership. No Tempest, just a Mothership. It's so smart because it forces out Vikings, which, if there are no Colossus, is huge. And it helps so much at keeping your Disruptors alive. It forces out scans. Here come a couple of big Disruptor hits. Are going to connect with a large portion of Baby Marine's army. Invisibility is helping out a lot as well over here. We see that Mothership is a bit of a magnet as well for these Marines, for some of these Liberators shooting at it too, and keeping this army alive for much longer than I think it should have, while continuously attacking as well. 2 kills so far on the Mothership. I mean, that isn't brilliant, but the damage output of a Mothership actually isn't all that bad. We have a Zealot and now a DT moving towards this planetary over here. I do believe that this base is potentially toast. With 12 gateways, maybe can still defend it. We have Time Warp available in a couple of seconds over here. There comes an EMP for now. And I think that is going to be it for that base. For Jumi, however, stays alive. Mothership also stays alive over here. Gets another shield upgrade. I don't really think that is where the priority lies right now for him, or should lie. Just is lacking gas quite a bit over here. 2 more Colossus on the way. Viking count is still 0. Baby Marine kind of taking control of this game right now. I think this is a good angle to push into. Disruptor count simply not here. Stalker count simply not here. And this left side base is now being isolated from the main portion. We have a recall towards the right side, as Forjumi decides to just completely give up this base and say, hey, if you're going to take out one of my bases, I want to take out one of your bases. I think these probes could be recalled, by the way, by the Mothership. Yeah, we do have that on cooldown right now. There's not enough here to defend this. I wonder if Time Warp, how useful it is in these fights. I think it's great as a zoning tool if you don't quite have enough Disruptors. It could save you. It definitely could. And also, in combination with Disruptors, I mean, it's harder to micro against, that's for sure. Here we go, as Time Warp does hit these Marauders. And love to see invisibility being used as well here. Not quite the case. Yep, it's going to save the Colossus with that invis. This is honestly one of the best uses of a Mothership I've seen at high level play. And now I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen it being incorporated into those late game situations. I really like the way he's using this. I really like it. This Mothership has proven to be extremely useful. Yes, it requires a little bit of extra control, but the thing is that you don't really want to... Like, how many Vikings would you need to effectively deal with a Mothership? I'd say you'd need like 6 Vikings or so. That is quite a bit of supply. Like, it's a good supply trade, basically, here for Jumi, because Vikings are useless if there are no Colossus. I still think the Colossus are a bad call. I think Mothership plus Disruptor. So you have a good supply trade, and you also get a unit that can still use a Time Warp, or can still use Recall. So a good supply trade while still having use. This is just brilliant. It's just a great unit to have, I think, in the late game, especially if you're playing Colossus-less styles. I really underestimated it. Seeing it here, it makes me change my opinion on them quite a bit. Time Warp here would be huge, just for zoning. Yeah, just for zoning. Look, usually you'd get completely jumped up here, and you probably would lose 2-3 extra Disruptors, maybe even this entire army. This is really nice play coming out of Jumi, constantly forcing out those scans. This is not a game in which we have 7 orbitals. There are 3 orbitals in total. Scans are a scarce resource, just energy is. That means there's going to be less mules as a result. That means there's going to be less scans for potential DT run-bys as well. I think the lower eco the game, the better the Mothership really is. And I think it has saved Jumi multiple times already so far in this game. I'm freaking loving this. I think it's brilliant. I really do believe so. We're gonna get a recall. What? He recalled the probes that were stuck behind here to the base, which they were stuck behind. Still going to evacuate them right now. So we have a little bit of a Mothership base trade coming in here. Recall now available on the Mothership. Time Warp soon to be available as well again. Disruptor's very far forward. That does scare me just a tiny tad. DT's roaming around right now. These Liberators want to be moving into position at some point, probably. Left side base here being taken. Income in favor of Baby Marine, despite only having a single base mining. That means that Jumi has really no bases mining. Even worker count as well. As this game is starting to take epic proportions. Like 6 Disruptors, 7 DTs, 9 Stalkers, as well as a Mothership. It is not a bad army, and it's just kind of poking in forward. Oh, this is bad. It's going to be a dead orbital here, if he ain't careful. Probably even if he's careful, it's a dead orbital. At this point, it's just gonzo. Good little run by, though, splitting off his army. Baby Marine realizing what's kicking off. Couple of Disruptors here moving in forward. Entire army stim here. It's going to cost quite a bit of energy to heal back up. Time Warp here, necessity, not a luxury anymore. We do get a Time Warp. That's going to slow down the chase here so much. Scan being forced out as well. 3 Disruptors still end up falling because the Disruptors were just way too far out of position. This really did help that Time Warp. But it might still not be enough. 3 Disruptors are out total. Where are they, though? 2 stuck in the main base for now. Need to start moving into this general area. Invisibility runs out. It's going to be available again in a 30 seconds or so. DT's moving towards the bottom side here. Oh, try to snipe the turret. Don't quite one-shot it. Are there any scans available? The answer is no. That means that a lot of these SCVs are going to end up falling. We just have a lack of scans. Is this the only orbital left? There's just a single orbital left right now. That makes this Mothership even more powerful. Oh, no. There's no detection. I think a recall towards this Mothership with the Disruptors would be the correct play. Or a recall out. Beautiful moves here, really. As this base is being retaken. For now, though, Baby Marine still outmining his opponent. As Jumi joins up with his... well, joins the Disruptors up with the main army. The Simulator's gonna get taken out here. Turret once again on the way. I think that Liberator's priority should be protecting the turret, not protecting the CC. Just move a little bit towards the left to have more, or just put the turret right here in the middle. Gonna get some Disruptor shots here. I don't think a single Mothership has gone down yet. Oh, look at this, though. That is insane. Absolutely loving the way that Jumi has been playing it. Despite a lot of mistakes in other areas, I think the Mothership is inspirational. It really is. Time Warp here is being sent a bit too quickly, in my opinion. Disruptor count is at 5. Another thing that, by the way, sounds really sick is to just have Disruptor, Mothership, and like 2-3 Stalkers in one army composition, and just pure Stalker Zealot in another, and you could just recall back to the Mothership if you need to. But with Time Warp, you're relatively safe, which just sounds crazy to me. I can't believe how overlooked this unit is right now in TVP. How much I overlooked it as well. Because due to not having energy, it means that Time Warp is just always available and Recall is always available. As long as it's, you know, you have it on cooldown. I think the Protoss force is currently really seriously underestimating the Mothership. I can't stress that enough. Here we go, couple of Purification Novas coming out. Poof, that's clean, that's real clean actually. Love that. Love that. DT's finding a Ghost Academy. Income pretty close. I think now actually what Jumi would like to do is nothing. I actually believe he would like to do nothing in an ideal world. Because he needs to grow in supply while his opponent is practically maxed. Okay, this is a very big scout here with that Observer. He's gonna take out 2 Medivacs for free. Third Medivac is also gonna go down if he ain't careful. There's one more Observer here. Jumi being so aggressive, despite being down 40 army supply. It's gonna lose a Disruptor here. No, it's not. Keeps everything alive. These Liberators are low. Full-on vision as well. Top left side base is still mining. And I think Baby Marine wants to go there. Doesn't realize that he's being spotted this entire time. Here comes a zoning Time Warp. You have this big force out already. Observer's gonna get cleared. That's a pretty big deal. That was a useful Observer. Liberator being sent out towards the left to start harassing. It's also kind of a big deal. It's gonna need to warp in some Stalkers to deal with that. Here comes Jumi once more. Tries to send in some Purification of. It's not gonna work. I think we need a rotation towards the left, not towards the right side here, Jumi. I think that's a mistake. You're not covering the road towards your only viable base. And on top of that, I also think this is very easy to defend. So this doesn't seem very viable. Moving forward there with just the Stalkers might have been worth it, as a single Disruptor does get taken out. Liberator here harassing. Stalkers not in position, as this Lip is going to start working on them probes. This is painful. This is really painful. Another command center has been built, as an eBay is being added in. I guess for turrets? Do we have no eBays remaining? I guess they've all been taken out. It's kind of wild. That is kind of wild. 4 more Marauders on the way. I think Baby Marine is winning pretty hard right now. I really do believe so. Just has been fighting way too efficiently. Way too efficiently. I think too many times Jumi attacked into spots or lost DTs randomly or gateway units randomly. Just a little bit too careless with that army comp. I really do believe that. Here come a couple of big Disruptor shots, perhaps. No, they're all gonna get sniped before they get to shoot. Liberators don't even need to siege anymore, and I think that's going to be the final fight here. Mothership, where art thou? I wanted to go in towards the main to kill the production, which actually was a really cool move, but it comes a little bit too late, as the Disruptors have already fallen, and I think that is actually just going to be it for this game. I mean, Liberators are being taken out. It's gonna have another recall out. Force field on the ramp, Time Warp on the ramp is real nice. Invisibility, real nice as well. But there's still a scan available and a GMP available. And I think this is actually just going to be it. Marauders take out this one base. There's a single base remaining with 22 workers still out on the map. We have, however, double mining here coming out of Baby Marine with those 2 bases, with a superior worker count, with, well, what is it, 5 times the army size. Yeah, this ain't looking too brilliant here. This is actually... The Mothership was like... I love it. I really love it. It's not because of the Mothership that he lost. He lost because of bad trades elsewhere. The Mothership kept him in this game, I think, if anything. Like, Baby Marine has better late game. Like, the execution, the speed was significantly better here. But that Mothership usage was actually beautiful. There's so much potential there. I love it. This really gave me a lot of good ideas. I love watching games like this. I really think it's brilliant. Nice little concept usage here by Jumi. Sadly not good enough as Baby Marine takes it. GG, well played. Mannered player, of course. These young ones always are very mannered in real life as well as online. All right, that's going to be it for me today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye-bye.